double-digit seed. Does that fuel your fire, or do you have plenty of motivation otherwise right now?
I think right now we have plenty enough motivation. Like I said, well, speaking for myself and probably for the rest of the team, I don't think we've been looking at the seeding. We've just been looking at the teams that we got to face next. You know, it's up to the committee to do the seeding, and it's up to us to play the games. So we're just gonna handle our business.
What's your early scout on Virginia?
Well, you know, from what we see, they're an aggressive team, a very physical team. You know, they're well known for their defense. You know, they have some very highly touted players. So I think one thing that we have done is kind of keying in on teams' best players and trying to limit them as much as possible. But you know, they do have a lot of talent. So you know, it's not just one or two players that are good on that team. So you know, we'll just have to just kind of just make them uncomfortable how we've been making other teams.
For both you teams, it's kind of a short turnaround. It's going this Sunday to now Thursday. Both you have to travel today. Is there enough timing? You got to kind of fit everything in, make sure you get the scout in, make sure you get some rest and relax to turn around and come back for kind of a short week?
Yeah, the flight to Louisville is 4 hours, and including the time change. So I believe that makes it 6 hours total. So for us, that's why I think we're kind of going early right now. But yeah, it is kind of a challenge to make sure you incorporate that rest along with having enough time to scout these teams. I think so far we're doing a good job.
The way you guys are matching up defensively, is there any sort of a matchup you try to avoid? Like, you probably don't want Peyton on a 7-footer, but like, I mean, are there many rules like that? Do you really feel like most guys on the floor at any point can match up with most anybody else?
Well, I think the way our defense is set up, you know, sometimes Peyton might have to end up sticking a 7-footer, but I think we've kind of taken the steps in order to help him. You know, if he does get matched up on the 7-footer, sometimes just in the game rotations happen, and you know you can't leave just a man wide open. But I think you know Peyton does a good job, or just everyone kind of on this team does a good job of noticing when you know the other team might feel like that they have an advantage and kind of just helping our teammate out.
But you're really going to switch regardless and just do your thing, and if it ends up with a mismatch, you'll adjust to that, but you're not going to try to protect any certain guy or anything like that.
Well, yeah, you know, I mean, it really depends on the caliber of the player. So, you know, some players we switch, some players we don't. You know, I mean, it's just really just all kind of just keeping the offense guessing.
Similarities between Wisconsin and Virginia, Tony Bennett, the connection there. Does it help you guys playing Wisconsin ahead of Virginia and being used to that pace and that grind-out style?
Yeah, I think, you know, we've seen a lot of different styles of play throughout this entire year. You know, I think kind of one of the first teams that I do remember having that approach was either Iowa or Baylor for that matter. I remember the Baylor game was a very just grinded out game. And I feel like, you know, playing Wisconsin and just having those teams ahead of Virginia, you know, they're all very good teams, but you know, Virginia's a special team, so you know, they're special in their own way too. So we just kind of have to take it one step at a time.
What's it like being on the floor? Just taking it.
I mean, I think you know people kind of see it for themselves. Everybody's just hyped up, juiced up, you know, screaming at the ceiling. You know, a whole bunch of stuff. You know, it's an incredible moment, especially you know when you have somebody like that on your team.
You guys play against some of the best athletes at this age in the country, but does his athleticism did it impress you when you first saw it, or does it still ever?
Yeah, I think that's something you can never really get used to. And you know, this is my second year with him. He still does things that impresses me, and I think. Even on the defensive end, his timing has gotten a lot better. On the offensive end, him catching these lobs, you know, it's not an easy task to knowing that it's people by your feet where you can end up falling, you know, but I think he's just done a great job at maintaining his focus.
Well, this season was heading toward possibly like last year and then NIT stuff, kind of heading that road. What was different this year compared to last year that got this thing turned around instead of just, like you said, a team flapping in the breeze that just kind of led to a slow death rather than what kind of got this thing going?
I think it was just more so the defense. We really picked it up on the defensive end, and we just believed in ourselves. I think this year, you know, the players that we have, not knocking last year's players at all, but this year's players, you know, we kind of matured all together. I think last year, you know, there was just certain moments in the season where one may have matured, but the other was just still kind of like not sure of the defensive schemes or not keeping in mind the scouting report. But, you know, I mean, last year's team, it was a brand new team. Nobody had really played with each other. I didn't play with them. You know, nobody, like I said, played with each other at all. That was all our first year playing together. Maybe Roman and Peyton, that was the only two teammates. But, you know, this year we have better leadership, and just the defensive end is just have been our bread and butter.
I imagine you're probably going to get faced up with Hunter a good amount on the inside. I know he'll probably also draw Kenny and France as well, but on the inside, what makes him so effective? Clearly he scored, I think, in double figures, like 20, 24 games.
He's a physical player. He's skilled, but he still has that physical aspect to his game. He reads how you're playing him very well, and you know, he can score at 3 levels on the floor. So I mean, you know, I'm looking forward to the matchup. I'll never back down, and you know, it's a good test to see, you know, not only where we're at, but where I'm at.
You guys have been so good at disrupting, beating opposing scorers, distributing point guards. Here, this team has both. For Jerome, especially at the point, I mean, he leads the ACC in assists. He's one of the nation's leaders there. Just how important is it going to be to disrupt what he's trying to do and getting the ball around?
Yeah, well, I think with players like that, one thing we've just tried to do is that we try to keep the ball out of their hands as much as possible, make other people on their team handle it. You know, they do a good job of playing at their own pace. So I think it's going to be interesting to see if, you know, we can kind of put some fire under them and kind of just speed them up a little.
Were you guys talking about Virginia on the flight back from San Jose? I mean, did preparation have to start that quick?
Kind of, not really. I mean, we was just so excited to really just kind of be in this position. On that flight back, people were just kind of still watching the game film, still kind of like, you know, looking at the highlights. But, you know, we kind of snapped out of it yesterday. So, you know, we're focused for Virginia now.
Thanks, Paul.
Take care, Cat.